Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Knights in Shining Armor, which is brought to you by us, the Knights at the Nerd Table. Don't confuse the two, they're very different entities. In a world of wonderful stories about fantastic heroes, let's hear a story about the villains, and that's what we're here to do. I am Nate, I am your DM, which stands for Dude Man storyteller, and I'm joined by some amazing people, one in absentia, but more on that in just a moment. Let's go with you had a lot of first takes, so I'm gonna actually toss the ball to my man Ethan. Sorry, Mace.
Sorry to do it to you. What's up, guys? Are we doing your little prompt, Nate, that you sent us? Or
Yeah,
what's the
so
deal?
I'd love to hear introduce yourself, your character, and then I want to know if your character were to take candy from a baby, how would he do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ethan Stiefel here. I play Varric, the Awakened Rabbit. And if he were to take candy from a baby, I think it would have a lot to do with where the parents are at. But straight up, I think he would probably pretend to do a magic trick, use some like illusions, colored lights, get the baby's attention, and then act like he's gonna do a magic trick to make the candy disappear and make it reappear. Only he never makes the candy reappear, and then he would leave. I think he'd make it fun, but then he would still devastate by taking the candy. And he'd be fine with it. He would leave.
That's so mean.
If I really had to take the candy, the parents got in my way, it would get darker. But just a baby just laying there, I would just do a little magic trick, sleight of hand, make it fun for the kids, you know.
Sure. You're heartless. Okay. Next to I'll throw the ball to the first most handsome, Mr. Mason Sayer.
Hey, that's me. What's up? My name's Mason. I play Thereseus, the blood hunting. Well, you'll learn that later. Thereseus, in terms of stealing candy from a baby, would just take it. He would go up, forcefully take it out of the child's hands, kind of like if they have a strong grasp, just undo their hand and take it out, and lean down and just make sure they know. He'd lean down and be like, "This is the way of the world," and then walk away.
Wow.
Just make sure they know that the stronger and more powerful people will get what they want.
Yeah, you're a teacher. You're teaching them a lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice.
Yep. Good job. Way to raise them
Evil
up young, guys.
Listen,
Good job.
I'm not Theseus, but
That's
you
true.
gave me a lot of time with that prompt,
I
and
did
so
all day.
I had time to cook.
Sitting in your inbox.
So I was like, "Dang, I don't like being evil, but that's what we're here to do."
Amen. I mean, yeah. I don't know if that's appropriate for bad guys, but I'm gonna kick it to my boy Andrew. Introduce yourself, my friend.
What's up? I'm Andrew. I play the character Goffrey, the Dread Pirate himself. But yeah, if I was to steal baby from some candy, I would probably. I thought about this all day, and I literally thought I would just go and take it from them because they're a baby. Like, why would they care? And then I thought, well, what would Goffrey do? And I think he would do that. I think he would just take it because they don't care. But I think he would feel bad at the same time, and so he would hand the baby like a pistol or something.
Oh, that's so
Good.
sweet.
Just like a
That's
fair
so-
trade of just like, hey, I
Here's a
wanted
fair
this. Like,
trade.
I can see you being upset.
That's
Here, take this. Or like a
Here's
rock.
a
That's so
knife.
sweet.
But there'd be some kind of like handoff of like, don't hurt yourself, but here you go, kid. You know what I mean?
Very kind of you. Not joining us at the table this evening is Jared, who had a little bit of a personal energy. He seems to be okay now, but he said, quote, let me just read this text. Let me read the text verbatim. Because I feel like you get a certain amount of free passes, and this one will do it. Hey, boys, I got pretty injured at work on Monday. I had a 12-foot cabinet fall on me, and I've been in a lot of pain. I've been trying to stay on top of it, but I just don't got it in me to record tonight. I'm sorry, guys. To which we say, that is fair.
Yeah.
Ivar, however, said pain was his power. So there's a little bit of a contradictory there But Mason, Ethan, Andrew, we all wish you the best. Jared, you'll be fine. You'll be back probably next episode, hopefully. So, but I had already put together the notes for this session, and it did leave some room for Jared not to join us tonight, and it not be the super awkward. Someone didn't make it to D&D, so they're secretly kidnapped style. So let me just recap a little bit what we've gone through. Last episode, each of you individually had a one-on-one therapy session with Dr. Barely Blewett. In that, speaking of the literal devil, actually, here's what actually happened. Jared was so scary we kicked him off the podcast. That's what really happened.
That's what really happened.
That's the actual truth.
That's accurate.
No, all the guys got to role play a one-on-one therapy session with that, and they exited into the room. The session did end with Ivar coming face to face with Rhinox, and Rhinox gave him his key that seems to be a key to unlocking legendary actions within the game. But where we're picking up is not quite there. We're going to do a little time, and we're going to go right back to when Dr. Barely Blewett said this. You, me? We're going to get along quite well. All right. I got to get to my next appointment. Have a good one. And he kind of starts to shoo you out. And Goffrey, a guard, opens the door, and you enter into another room just outside of Dr. Blewett's office. Now, this room is not the same room you entered from. It's kind of on the other side of the office.
Okay.
And the guard closes the door behind you. In front of you, you can see sort of a similar room to the one you were waiting on the other side, except this one is a few difference. There are chairs awaiting you kind of around the room. There's a large landscape-framed painting hanging on the wall, and it almost feels like there's some motion to the painting. On the opposite wall, there is what appears to be some sort of water cooler, just a little place for refreshments and a place to just kind of get a drink if you're thirsty. There is the guard simply says to you, "Just wait here for now. I'll return you to your room as soon as the rest of the group is finished up." And then he kind of posts up a position with his back facing the door. So he is watching you, but his back is facing the door, and that would lead to Mr. Barely Blewett's office. It doesn't take long to get a lay of the room, and the only other thing you notice in the room is a small little man who seems to be mopping up what appears to be some spilled water from the water cooler.
Am I just standing in the middle of the room though? Like, if
You're kind of on the edge of it. You know, the whole room is in front of you. The guard's only a few feet behind you. He's kind of facing you a little uncomfortably close.
I'm imagining elevator music gently playing in this room.
Yes, some very gentle elevator.
If I walk forward, I would walk towards the landscape painting.
If you take a few steps forward, you'll notice that the landscape painting is on your right, the water cooler is on your left, and a little bit in the middle, more towards the water cooler, is where this man appears to be mopping.
Okay. Can I turn around to the guard?
Yep.
He's looking at me.
Yep.
I just want to smile at him, and then I want to say, am I gonna have another appointment? Am I supposed to? Is Mr. Blewett gonna come in here? Or are you gonna therapy me? Like, what are we? What's going on?
That was very unclear of me. No, go ahead and have a seat and just wait. When Dr. Blewett is done with his assessments, then we'll be taking you back to your room based on sort of the results of your assessment. Also, it'll help us. It just makes paperwork easier if we kind of do everything all at once, because he's gonna kind of let us know what jobs you're capable of and qualified for, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. What qualified you for guard?
A lot of training. Yep, I went actually transferred from the Army. This was a better paying job, so I transferred in. Been saving up a lot of money. Hopefully, with a little more luck, a few more weeks, I'll be able to move my family out of the city. So,
Oh, you have a family. That's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Any kids? You said I'm assuming family
One,
means more
yep.
than just
One boy. One boy. Yep.
one boy. One boy. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. You like doing this, you said?
Yeah, it's a living, so.
Yeah. Yeah. It pays well?
No, but it pays better than the front lines, and
Oh,
significantly less risk.
yeah. Yeah, my uncle, he was in the army. Yeah. He does a lot of stories of just yeah. No, it's some scary stuff. I'm proud of you that you served so well. And then you saw that there's more to life than serving the government. So you now work for the government still technically, but just in a more supportive of your family way. It's so manly of you.
I'm not gonna let you. I'm becoming uncomfortable with where this conversation's headed. So like I said, feel free to have a seat. You can grab a drink of water. I'm sure everyone else will be out here shortly.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. I was just thinking of yeah, sometimes I just have like images of the stories my grandfather told me at the front lines, and I'm just thinking to myself like, oh, this is crazy. I'm sitting next to a guy who experienced that, and I'm just like I'm so impressed. Speaking of front lines, like you got this dude here, like he's obviously served at the front lines the way he's mopping the water. So, sir, what is your name? And I want to point to the little dude.
The little dude
Yeah.
looks at you. He's an older-looking halfling.
Okay.
He has silver hair that is pushed tight back behind his slightly pointed ears. The quantity of wrinkles on his face is only matched by the amount of wrinkles he has on his hands. You would think that if he closed his mouth and his eyes too tight, that his whole face might disappear. The wrinkles on his hands are accompanied with calluses that are only grown from hard work. He sort of looks up at you and greets you with a toothless grin. Oh,
See,
hello there. You must be Godfrey. I've heard a lot about you, young man. Yes.
what happened to your teeth?
What happens to anybody's teeth, really?
All right. Well, that guard said he's uncomfortable. Now I'm feeling uncomfortable. So I'm gonna go have a seat.
That's totally fine.
But I really appreciate all the work you're doing here. It's really frontline work, sir. Then I'm just gonna go have a seat.
All right. The man begins to mop and kind of moves around the room. Seemingly, Mop is kind of looking at you the entire time. Like he hasn't really broken eye contact. He kind of stops mopping in front of the portrait and just kind of keeps staring at you.
Toothless cleaner. What did you say your name was?
My name is Dorian.
Doria?
Dorian, yes.
Doria, like an H?
No H, just an N at the end, but the N's are hard when you have teeth.
Okay. Doria, how long have you worked here for?
Oh, who's to say anymore? It's been so long.
Is that painting behind you alive?
Well, why don't you look at it and you tell me?
Okay. Can I go? Can I stand up? And I want to actually walk up like close to it and almost touch it.
Yeah. You can easily see in this portrait the glorious image of a majestic ship at sea. The waves, though hard as they may be, shatter on the bow of this majestic beast. It is trimmed in every corner with gold fittings and jewels ornate all the various and wondrous details and designs. At the head of this ship sits a wooden woman. Her smile holds all that is kind, as well as a deep desire for adventure. As you look closer, you can see the crew, every man on his post, singing and drinking as they ride the seas, seeking whatever treasure is certain to come next.
And from what I can tell, it is moving though. Like it actually looks like it's.
Yes, it appears that the water seems to have a movement to it. The ship almost seems to be bouncing along the waves, and the little dots that make up the crew almost seem to shift and swing their arms, and you almost could swear you could smell the sea, and you could almost swear you could hear them sing.
Uh, uh, Dory, is this who's in this painting?
I think that's probably a question that you would have to answer for yourself. These paintings, magical in nature, sort of adapt to your dreams, your desires. Maybe it's a memory, maybe it's a wishful memory. Paintings have a funny way of doing that sometimes. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say.
Guard, who I highly respect. What do you see when you look at this painting?
The guard walks over to the painting and he looks at it and he says, I see some farm. A nice farm. The wheat is almost ready to harvest. The sun is setting, and I'm about to go inside after a long day's work. And just then, a little bell rings, and he says, I think that's I gotta take this. Excuse me." And he heads back towards the door. You hear from the other side of the door.
Actually, which door was it again? Oh,
And so the other one, yeah. And he opens the door, and Theseus enters this room as well. Theseus, you see all the same. You enter a room and you see a painting. You see a water jug, water cooler-esque opposite that wall. The guard leads you. There are also several chairs that you can sit in. So yeah, just have a seat, and when we're finished with all the assessments, we'll get you guys to wherever it is that you need to go. But until then, just sit back, relax, and be comfortable.
How much longer are we staying here? Can I get a timeline?
20 minutes estimate.
Thank you. Back to your post, soldier.
Well, right away, sir. And he walks back facing the door, keeping an eye on everyone in the room.
Theseus will turn to Goffrey here, analyzing the scene around him, trying to turn to Goffrey and just be like, well, that was certainly a time that we have had in the last 20 to 30 minutes. Weird magical show and all. And strange man talking about things. How'd your meeting go?
Oh, same old, same old. How's your life? How's your dad? Did he hurt you? The basics.
Classic.
Yeah. So
who is this friend of yours you're standing next to?
Point of order. Mason, the only person in this room is Goffrey and the guard.
Okay. Cool. I won't ask that then. I'll look up at the painting.
Three-piece, what do you see when you look at this painting?
Well, I see...
The painting now seems almost blurry. Colors swirl almost as if they're trying to settle on an image. It almost seems like it's trying to settle on the outline of a man. No, wait. It's a woman with long or no, short hair, or maybe somewhere in the middle. The hair swirls between colors of blonde or brown. No, it's actually red. Wait, it might be black. The images and shapes continue to revolt against whatever design it is intended, and just at a moment where it seems like the image might settle, it breaks and continues to offer nothing more than confused palette of color.
Have you ever teleported before?
No.
It's like the moment in between leaving an area and arriving. It's kind of just like a blur of colors and lights, and I don't know. Something might be in it. I assume it's magical in nature.
Wow. Sounds beautiful. See a boat and the guard over there. Who did you know he served on the front lines and now he's here serving on the true front lines, keeping us in this room safe. He sees a cornfield.
Oh,
Actually
okay.
wheat, actually, but sorry to interrupt. It was wheat. Sorry.
Can I turn back to the guard?
Absolutely.
Does Theseus have any recognition of this guy at all?
No. This guy is no one that we've seen so far yet before. He just seems to be I mean, there are a lot of guards obviously that you haven't met in person, but there's
Sure.
no recollection of this man at this time.
Cool.
And real quick, do I see the little guy?
Nope, he seems to be gone as well.
Okay.
Or maybe I should say, what little guy?
Okay, cool. But yeah.
So you see a boat.
Yeah.
So why do we see different things?
There was a little janitor cleaner guy in here earlier. He said it's just kind of the things we dream of, and so yes, I dream of waves and ships and a crew, and you dream of the in between.
Fair enough. Have you tried the doors? I'm gonna turn and walk towards the door next to the water cooler.
The guard says, just be okay. Everything's okay, but just have a seat. Everything's
So-
fine, but just have a seat. And I'm sure. Suddenly there is actually a knock. The door that you're headed towards opens, and an older-looking guard sort of enters. And he walks up to the other guard and kind of starts muttering something in his ear. As he does so, Theseus, in your head, maybe even in your whole body, you start to hear this sound. Almost as if the seconds of a clock are ticking. Anyway, the two guards begin to converse. You're not going to believe this. With a perception check, you might be able to hear what they're saying.
Heard, chef.
I can see all this too, correct?
Correct.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check it.
Perception check is going to be a 17.
All right.
I can still hear you.
So with a 17, you hear sort of this conversation.
21.
Perfect. You both hear this conversation. It goes something along the lines of this. You aren't going to believe this. The older one says. The younger one says, what? The older one says, well, first of all, we have a surprise rehabilitation ceremony this afternoon. The younger one says, oh, man, that's pretty sudden. I still have to drop off all the paperwork, and I still have things to drop off from intake this morning. There's no way I have enough time to polish my armor before the ceremony. The older one says, well, that's not even half of it. We have a surprise visitor. The younger one says, who? And the older one says, who? And the younger one says, well, I'm not doing this. I'm not freaking doing this right now. And the older one says, sorry. Okay. I couldn't resist. But no, Rhinox is here. And the younger one says, you see the color drain from his face as he says, he's back? How does that even work? The older one continues the conversation. He seems to be here on some sort of special orders, sort of a peace because of the funeral. The younger one, oh, that makes sense. Hey, if you got stuff to do, you can go ahead and do that. I'll stay here. The younger one, yeah, give me just a second, and maybe I'll let you swap me. Sounds good. And just then, the bell rings. Oh, let me grab the door. He goes over to the door and opens it, and entering the room now is Varric. We'll work on that. So
I storm in as soon as I see them. New deal. We're not just gonna kill the shield bros. We're gonna kill some time. Well, yeah. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you as well.
Sirs. And what do I see in the room?
Yes. So in the room, you see an older-looking guard and a younger-looking guard conversing. The older one says, so it's just a standard post, right? He's like, the younger one says, yep, as soon as their paperwork is clear, we'll get them to wherever they need to be. All right, I'll hang out with you until then. The younger guard approaches you, Varric, and says, all right, yeah, if you can we'll have a seat. Should be just a few minutes left until the final, session of the day is done, and then we'll get you guys back to your rooms. But until then, there's some water over there. You can feel free to have a seat. Yep, we'll just probably be here. I'm sure he's just wrapping up.
Yeah, sure. All right, I'll go to grab a glass of water.
Hey everyone, just want to hop on and toot our own horn here. Last month, we wrapped up a super fun Pokemon Go tournament for our Discord members, and it was just a great time. We themed it after our villains, and it was a Team Rocket themed Pokemon Go tournament. You can only use Pokemon from or used by Team Rocket, and we opened it up to like the games and even Pokemon Go and the manga and anime, and pretty much anywhere Team Rocket used a Pokemon, you could use that Pokemon, and it was a lot of fun. We gave away some fun prizes, including a TKNT sticker, a first edition copy of The Boss's Way, and a copy of Reverse Hollow Muck. It was a super fun tournament, and I'm excited for the next one coming as well. Coming up on a year of being an affiliate with Inked Gaming, it was about a year since we got started with them at affiliate status, and it's been a lot of fun to do that as well. So, in honor of that start, our next Pokemon Go tournament is going to be starters only. That's right, in the handheld games, you get to pick one of 3 starters. Any of those starters, you can build your team of 4 for this tournament, and the prize is going to be as fun as well. We're going to partner with Inked Gaming and get you a supply drop right from them, Pokemon themed. It's going to be a blast, so you are not going to want to miss that. You can find the link to our Discord in the description of this channel, or if you're a Patreon subscriber, you should automatically get a link when you join us on Patreon. You can find us on patreon.com/TKNT, and it's just another place to find us, and you also get exclusive content there. Can't go without plugging the Patreon, but if you love Pokemon and like playing Pokemon Go, this is a great tournament to maybe win some super fun prizes, including some sick cards, which you'll probably get out of that prize pack. So head on over to our Discord, hop into our Pokemon Go channel, and join a tournament. Thanks.
Would we know who Rhinox is?
Well, okay, so here's what I'll say. Varric, no. Theseus, probably a name that you've heard of before. He is the king of the Northern Territory on this large continental
Aluria?
Yeah.
King of Aluria?
Goffrey, you've probably heard his name before. You probably have no care or
Means nothing to
attachment
me.
to it. Yeah, exactly. That seems like very on brand with Goffrey. So
Hello, Varric.
What do you see when you look at that painting?
Painting. Oh. What do I see?
you look at it as well, and you see as well a farm. On this farm is green grass, not too tall, but not too short. There are rabbits everywhere, jumping around and running around, playing games of catch and tag and eating snacks. And then, kind of off to the side of what appears to be a barn, in the shadow, there's a pair of eyes, and they're almost glowing. And they just kind of meet your eyes, Varric, and they just kind of stare at you.
Water, as I was looking at the painting, is like overflowing the cup as I stand there. Can I go rip the painting off the wall?
You can certainly try.
Okay, what do you want me to roll? I just fly at it and try to tear it.
Yeah, so you
Down.
fly at it and you tear it at the guards. Whoa, hey, okay, all right. Just calm down. What seems to be the problem here? What seems to be the
I'm
problem
cool.
here?
All right, nothing. Just it was a bit trippy.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good. I'll take a seat. And I go and sit down next to Theseus and Godfrey. I'm shaking, not from fear this time.
The younger guard says to the older one, Reginald, what do you think we should do? Well, we don't have any paperwork yet, so we don't know if this could be considered an incident. So let's just wait it out. Okay.
You didn't do anything.
Yep. Just we have procedures and protocol, and the door opens.
Side note, real quick, are we all sitting on the same couch? Can I be in the middle with my arms around both of them?
I don't know if Theseus clarified he's sitting, but if that's happening, he's definitely sitting.
I won't be touching. I just want my arms on the back of the couch.
I'm standing on the couch, but my height, like your arms are on my shoulders, but I'm like twitching. I'm like my hair is up. It's been up.
I'm
Since
gonna like start consoling Varric as this door opens, and then kind of stop watching the scene.
Perfect. So that door explodes open. Everyone give me perception checks. I just want to see how much information you take in.
20.
9.
19.
Varric and Godfrey, in bursts this giant rhino of a humanoid, which you see as well, Theseus. Theseus, what you don't see, and the other two do see, is behind him, a hooded Kenku seems to slip him something. Rhinox puts it in his pocket and walks boldly up to the guards. You're gonna want to let me through.
Has the ticking changed, gotten louder, disappeared at this point?
Actually, now that you mention it, kind of seems to be slowing down a little bit. Tick, 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 tick.
Okay.
It slows down. It's not stopped, but it has slowed down. And Rhinox looks at the guards and says, you're going to want to give me the room. And as he says that, the door actually starts to glow red. Reginald stands up, puts a sword on his hilt. Seems like it might be getting kind of frisky in there. Rhinox says, please allow me. And the two guards just seem to be absolutely frozen with fear as Rhinox heads towards the door and knocks. Knock, knock, knock. You can hear from the other side some flustered, panic voice. Oh, that's so odd. And he comes to the door and he hears Rhinox say, just give me 2 minutes. Oh, I don't think that's, I could never. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. And Dr. Blewett exits the room as this rhinoceros of a man enters it. And Dr. Blewett seems extremely flustered. He's holding just a stack of papers, and he's, okay. And Reginald walks up to him and says, "Sir, what are you okay? What's wrong? What's going on?" That one's going to solitary. That one is not clear for Gen Pop.
It sounds like you blew it.
Listen.
Did you blow it?
Listen.
Did you do a bad job?
He throws his papers on the ground and walks up to you. I do the best that I can. And
when he comes up close to me, I
help.
get in front of him and Theseus, and I'm like on my haunches ready to jump at him. Hair raised, ears back.
No reaction from Theseus.
From the other room, you hear a low, bone-chilling cackle of a laugh. Blewett looks back at the door. I don't want to go back in there. I need to catch my breath. So with his papers on the floor, he exits the room for a moment, and the two guards move towards the door.
Is the rhinoceros still in the room?
No, the rhinoceros has entered Dr. Blewett's office.
And so,
Okay.
where are the guards moving to?
They're moving towards the door to the office.
Okay. And his papers are scattered all over the ground?
Yes.
Could I very quickly check out those like make a actually here's what I'll do. I'll say, Varric, get the papers.
I'll help him pick up the papers.
Um,
Sorry, I know you're frazzled. Allow me to help you. And I go down to help him. Sorry, Doc, just a bit of a, this is all a lot. And I go down to
the
help him pick
doctor
up the
left,
paper.
right?
Yeah, Blue was
Yep,
gone.
the doctor stepped into the hall.
Oh, okay.
So you three now, if you would do me the pleasure of going to your loved ones at home and asking them for an envelope that I sent them earlier this week.
What?
You, Andrew, please see Nicole. Mason, please see one, if not both of your parents. And Ethan, please see your wife.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you create an immersive experience when you're not in the same room as your players. Figure out who they know that you know, email some PDFs, politely ask them to print it, and go from there.
I got mine.
I was told a pigeon delivered this.
Yeah, I trained a pigeon. If the weather would have been any worse, it wouldn't have made it on time. I'll tell you that right now.
Should I read this?
Give it one moment. We'll wait for Andrew to get back.
Sorry.
The heck?
All right, you gentlemen can now open your folded papers or envelopes.
My trust level of Porter has gone out the window.
If you would, kind of as you're going through, describe what it is you might be looking at.
These are our notes that Dr. Blewett wrote during our therapy session.
I'll give you a second to kind of pour through those, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it is you might be seeing. Let's start with the first person to get analyzed. Goffrey, what are the notes that you see?
Um,
Or maybe I should ask, does anything on those pages jump out to you as something that would pique Goffrey's interest?
It's a lot to do with my complete lack of self-awareness, it claims. And then my insight and judgment being poor. Depersonalization of my thought content, accurate. Thought process, false beliefs, illogical connections.
It's pretty on brand of what a counselor might assess in a small 10-minute period of time. 3CS, what notes jump out to you from your paper?
I mean, there's a lot to work through here. The fact that how you worked out the pronunciation of my name is 3C us. Nature versus nurture, speaks highly of death. Wanted to stand an attempt at personal and environmental control, carries heavy burdens, challenged my insight, delusions, irritable, goal in objectives, remove pressure to kill based on obligation. Homework plan, laundry, solo, underlined like 3 or 4 times.
So mine was general population, and then work in kitchen or laundry, etc. That's
Nice,
fun.
nice.
That's fun.
Varric, what do you got there?
So mine says that somebody has been calling me cutie buns, and Varric is shaking as he's reading that. Even madder than you've already seen him since we've been in here. Says he's confused as to why he is here. And that Dr. Blewett is too, which is good. He pooped, it's underlined twice. It's got some session notes about some of the questions he asked me. He thinks I'm so polite. Interesting. Some other things about my potential abilities. my seemed pretty appropriate, and at the bottom he said pooped again, total of 2 times. And it says Gen Pop can work anywhere. It could even possibly add an act to orientation. Let me tell you, that guy is an idiot. He's exactly what I thought he was.
On the line of Gen Pop versus Solitary, phony incidents occur plaque in solitary.
So one of the joys of being a DM is when you create an immersive experience, you can actually rely on your own personal handwriting, which is rivals that of a third grader, to resemble doctor handwriting, which is borderline illegible by most people who read it except for the doctor. So that's just
fair.
really more of an immersive detail. He really just like brings you in to the story, you know?
This is
Anybody-
hilarious.
So are the guards at the door? Like, are we? Like, do I think I can whisper?
The guards' attention.
Have they noticed us grab this?
They have not. The guards' attention,
that's why I
with the
sent
door now
Merrick.
glowing red, the guards' attention is very, very peaked. They actually seem to be on alert. Both of their hands are on their hilts.
Looking at us or at the door?
The door?
They are looking at the door.
Is the door that the Bluet went to, is that open?
It is, but funny you mentioned that. He actually bursts kind of back in, a little more composed. Oh, hey.
My ears go back again.
He sees his notes on the floor. He begins to pick up his notes. If anyone would like to do any actions to help him or hide the notes he took, now would be the time to do so.
Because have we learned that the papers are needed for processing, right? Like that was
you haven't
clarified.
That was clarified, but it wasn't really. You kind of have a few seconds to make a split decision.
I want my notes to be seen by more people because of the way that he regards me.
Sure.
So I'm gonna actually not give it to him. I'm just gonna try to like put it back on the ground before he sees that I looked at it.
Okay.
Since I saw mine, I want them to think that what he thinks is true.
I'm worried about them putting me in solitary because that would mean like more lockup time, and so I'm going to try to remove my paper, hide them in my shirt, whatever I can.
I'm still in front of him. I'll stand up tall and put my ears up just in case they're deciding something behind me.
Sure. Mason, just roll sleight of hand, and do it with advantage because he's kind of stepping in front of you with his ears up high.
That is a 3 on the first roll, so hopefully an advantage will help us more. And it's a 10, so in total a 12 sleight of hand check.
Okay. Godfrey, is there anything you would like to do?
I just want to stand up, leave my notes on the floor, and be like, "Bluff it! You've made such a mess before you left, sir. Are you feeling okay? Are you capable of doing your job still?"
To be honest, I'm a little shook in there, but you know what? I stepped in the hall. I took a breath. I became in control of my emotions, and now I'm going to make choices based on that control. So I'm going to go back in there, finish my job, and then I'll send you guys on to processing. Actually, if you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate it. If you could just help me pick up some of my notes here. I left in such a hurry, and that's, you know what? That's really unprofessional of me, and I apologize. You know what? I'm sorry. That's on me.
You just recognize it a lot. You are really progressing. You are doing so well.
Here you go. This one, you dropped it. I drop it on the ground before he takes it out of my hand.
I'll grab it. I'll grab it.
Sorry about that.
Thresias purposely sits down for the first time.
I go to sit down next to Thresias.
You can see him as he walks up behind one of the younger guard. I am gonna need a full escort for Ivar. He's going to solitary. Thank you. And that individual. Okay. He takes his a bag, sort of a satchel, and he hands it to the older guard. Can you run this to processing then? The older guard just kind of actually, let me roll for him something really quick.
While they're
I'm
doing
going
that, I
to
want to whisper.
lean over. Yeah, you go first.
Go ahead. You go first.
Okay, I'm gonna lean over to Varric and just be like, "You see that?"
I saw it. A new deal. I'll get you out of here if you kill Blewett.
I can certainly cause a distraction.
Maybe not yet. Let's wait for the opportune moment because Ivar's still in there. But he
If that
goes
is something they
before we
need to
go.
take to processing, then it is something that is not limited by the magical, weird iron stuff that the gods apparently gave the prison. If that's probably a prisoner's items, that might be our ticket to having something in here. So I'm not sure how stealthily you are, but if I per se cause a distraction, could you get those?
Yeah, I'm sure I could. Was the satchel to seem like what the papers were in, or was it something separate?
Seemed like something separate.
Okay. Yeah, give it a go. I'm just gonna go drink a water. I say that last part louder and hop back over to the water station.
So Blewett, after seeing that, opens the door sort of as the rhino steps out and just kind of makes a beeline for the other door. He's about his own business. You hear from back, oh, you could cut the tension in here with a knife. And well, I think that's it for today. I think that's where we're gonna end our session. And you kind of hear him say that. But before we do, why don't you just have a seat? The guards will be on their way. And he shuts that door. The younger guard in your room begins to abruptly leave and walk out, quite on a mission. The older guard still stands ready with his hand on his hilt. And Mason, the more you look at him, that ticking in your head gets slower and slower and slower, and then it stops. You hear a voice in your head. It's been a long time since you've sent anyone across my river.
I will stand up, hearing that in my head. I will look over at Goffrey, try to grab his attention, give him a wink. And I will move in the opposite side of the room from where Varric is. And try to get into so I'll get into the corner that is on the wall, opposite of the water fountain.
Sure.
On the same wall as the guard.
Yep. So where that would put you would be on the same wall as the guard as he faces the door. Behind him, kind of over his, which would be his left shoulder, would be where the painting was. That's kind of the rough area you're saying that you would be opposite the water cooler. Correct?
Yeah. And there's nothing else in this room, yeah?
Nope, just some chairs.
I am going to...
Or I guess you could make a perception check to see if anything out of the ordinary besides chairs would be helpful in this situation.
Am I able to grab a coin out of the air?
By coin, where would the coin be coming from?
Well, that's the issue, is it would normally be magical. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to scratch myself on the painting, hard, ideally letting blood flow, which is something Thereseus is used to.
Okay.
But his goal is to actually get a little bit gushing.
Sure. Here's what I'll say. The guard who left did so with urgency.
Sure.
So I'm going to give everyone an action economy or one full turn to do actions, bonus actions, things like that. So in that moment, by the time you three get done with that, more than likely you will have run out of some sort of time.
Okay.
Who has the satchel? That is
the old guard.
The old guard.
And the old guard's facing the door, right? He's
Correct.
facing away from us.
Correct.
All right, maybe we don't have to be as elaborate about this. I'm going to look over, wink, look over at Varric, and just do a little like finger forward motion to both of them. And I'm just gonna go up and grab the guy's. Does he perchance have a necklace or like a tight shirt on?
He around his neck, not completely around his neck, but around his neck, tucked under his left arm would be the satchel. So he's got it there. But other than that, it's armor, a magical in nature, and he has not yet drawn his weapon.
Sure. So I'm just gonna go up the strap that's around his neck. That's like has that is the bag. I'm just gonna grab it and yank backwards, to start choking him out with the bag around his neck.
Okay. Go ahead and give me strength against his.
Just straight strength check or like an
He's
athletics?
turned away from us, correct?
You
Or
can do
he's
strength
facing
or
us?
athletics, whichever you would like.
Porter, is he facing us or looking away from us?
He's looking away from all of you. Look,
At the door.
he's dead fixed on that door. That door glowing
Okay.
red means something to him that has his undivided attention.
Okay, I thought he was looking at us. Okay, cool.
That's gonna be a 24 athletics check.
Beats his 14 strength save. So that's happening. What would Goffrey and Varric like to do?
So I'm trying to clear the other guy already left.
He's
So it's
already
just that
left.
one guard. Okay.
Correct.
Then while
Just him in the
as
room.
soon as he gets him choking, that I assume that guy's, if he has his hand on his hilt, he's either going up for it. I'm gonna go for what's in the bag, and I'm gonna try to like slip in and try to grab out whatever's in there. Like, thank you, mate. I'll take that.
Yep. Just do a dex check on that.
That was a 15.
Sweet. That should do it. With that, you reach into that satchel and you grab onto something cold and hard. And now you may also go get the box I sent you with the little bag in it.
Okay.
We flash back, but for a moment, to the younger guard's day. He wakes up, kisses his son, writes in his journal, heads on his way to work. Busy day. He gets in, clocks in, not late, but not quite early, and immediately gets stuck in processing as he processes the newest arrival, what appears to be, it's weird, a little rabbit. Very odd. All right, let's get through processing. You know what? Kind of looks, honestly, says to another guard, look at those little cutie buns. You know, it's funny. All right, let's get this done. He reaches, puts a hot poker into what appears to be a furnace glowing with magical energy and sears it on your forearm. In that wound, he pulls out a key, sticks it in, turns it, and you hear a locking sound. He pulls it out, puts it in his satchel, and begins about his normal day of work. On his way, escorting this new prisoner with another guard, he's immediately stopped by Grand Warden Conrad.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're gonna roll right into some orientation because we're already way behind schedule and my day's already been thrown completely off course. All right, let's just keep it moving.
A little shocked, this young guard puts the key in his satchel, doesn't want to get written up, but doesn't have time to stop the warden. He seems pretty preoccupied and carries on his day, which brings us to the moment where he passes the satchel to this older guard who is now in control of it. And so, Varric, you can pull out your key.
Sheesh. I still have a bonus action, right?
Sure.
I'd like to hold it in my hands like this, look down at the hole in my thing, say, yeah, I wasn't fully asleep when you called me cutie buns. And I take the key like this and I shove it in his jugular.
Savage.
My name is Varric.
I like that this isn't the right guard, but
I don't think it
Varric
matters.
does not care.
The sheet said guard crossed off. If I see a guard, it's probably must have been him,
Yeah.
even if it's the next one and the next one and the next one.
That's
All right.
Go ahead and Roll damage. We'll say improvised weapon, or even just maybe dagger would be fine.
Okay, so that would be a D4.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 4, so then I don't know if I would have, if it's improvised, if I have my like proficiency bonus or anything or modifier.
You would have like a strength modifier, but I don't know if your class.
Would be Dex,
guaranteed
because that'd be +3. So that'd be 7. I think it'd be 7.
I'll accept 7. That's your movement. Godfrey, what would he like to do?
I can technically cast spells. It's just going to hurt me, correct?
You can give it a shot.
Can I ask really quickly? You said he hadn't drawn his weapon yet.
No, this is I would say we consider this a surprise round.
Yeah.
Because all this is kind of happening, bing, 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 and he's.
As I'm holding him, am I able to like tell where his weapon would be and maybe indicate that to Godfrey?
Sure, absolutely.
You're just like holding on to him as he's like choking out. I'm like, belt, hilt.
Can I cast suggestion to Reginald?
Sure, go for it. We'll get to the spell mechanics in a second. Let me look up. Do you know what level you're casting the spell at?
I'd have it at level 2.
So here's what I'll say. Let's do 2d10 plus 4. We'll roll that damage. I can roll that damage for you. No problem. I'd be happy to. Sorry, it's 2d10 plus 2. So you take 11 damage.
I do?
Yep.
So I can cast it, though?
Give it a shot. So we'll do charm person here.
I was going to do suggestion.
Or
but-
suggestion, sorry. With Bard's Man, Potato.
This one is a little more controlling, which I like.
Ladies, if he says that we would consider that a red flag.
Red flag. Red flag.
Suggestion. You suggest a course of activity and magically influence a creature you can see within range that can hear and understand you. Can't be charmed. Blah, blah, blah. Wisdom saving throw on a failed save. So what is your suggestion?
I'm going to drop to my knees next to him and say, Reggie, don't fight back. I can get you out of here. Give me your sword.
A wisdom saving throw. All right.
As a rabbit is shoving a key into his to the side
And
of
I'm
his neck.
choking him out actively. Don't fight back. I'll get you out of here. I
Let
love
me
that.
just double check to see what happens if he takes damage.
I'm pretty sure it
Because-
breaks it.
But in
But
this
he's
moment,
doing it last, technically, in turn order.
we'll say we break the meta. He's like, it seems good to me, and sort of pulls his sword out and hands it to you as he's beginning to bleed. The other hand on his neck, trying to slow the bleeding.
I would like to take the sword and say, nice. And I want to stand up. And then technically, he's just going to die because he's not fighting back. So he's going to get choked out and bleed to death, correct?
Yeah. So, you guys all
If he
take-
handed you a sword, I would stop. I would I just did a quick pop.
Yeah, but he's just bleeding profusely and being choked. And I told him not to fight back. And I'm in control of him. So
Yep. So he's in a rough way. Suddenly behind you appears the younger guard again with just what you can see in the door, at least 2 other guards. Reginald! And as that happens, the door to the office also opens, and Mr. Blewett, are you guys done? Oh my god! And just absolutely, the first thing he sees when he opens the door is just a guard just bleeding profusely, getting choked out. Godfrey has a sword in his hand. He slams the door, and I don't know what happens on the other side of that door, actually. So
Can I put my key in?
sure. So
I have
you
time for
put
that.
your key. We'll say, why don't we do this? Everyone roll initiative.
All right. Don't have my stuff, so I don't have advantage. But I did roll an 18 plus 6, so 24.
11.
5.
Yeah. So at the top of the initiative order, 3CS, what was your roll?
11. Should be Varric over me.
Cool. So the initiative is set. So at the top of the order, Varric, you're up.
What do you consider a free object interaction to put my key in my wrist?
Yeah, I would consider that a free object interaction.
Okay, I would like to do that.
So you
What happens?
as you slam your key in your wrist, nothing happens. But that is where we will end this session. Knights in Shining Armor is a podcast brought to you by the Knights at the Nerd Table, but would not be possible without you, the listener. We also want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Ben, Vipon, Colin McMeegan, and 3. That list is growing, but those are 3 of the coolest people we know. All of them are fans of the show and Patreon. So if you want to become a Patreon, head on over to our Patreon page, and you too could be called to collaborate with us for a canon episode where you could play a hero that you designed and hope to take down one, if not more than one, of our villains. Again, special, even more thanks to our friends at DeWall's Forge for being a partner with us and collaborating with us in several ways. Also, music on this episode was brought to you by the Whimsical Sprites. You can find them on Spotify. They also stream on Twitch and do a lot of fun things as well. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode coming next month. Until then, you can find us everywhere and anywhere, including but not limited to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, and of course, patreon.com. TKNT, that's us. We cannot wait to see you at the table. Until then, good night, nerds.